sticks. All stick, honey, you gon' chop shit. All stick, all shit. First just let me start off, I be spazzing everywhere. We ain't waiting for no get back, we gon' get it over there. That boy looking for low honey, bitch, I'm posted everywhere. If you find me anywhere, I got some killers over there. Damn, Boots ain't made to say that, cause y'all police just like black. Hey, Brady on my ass, cause they can't get me naughty mad. I can never wipe no hoe, y'all niggas go outside. Either get hit with his 5.56, I'll get hit with his jack. Either get hit with his 1-2, I'll get hit off with this black. Get hit off with this shit, leave him in a pack. On freezer with that shit, honey, he gon' blast. Big Caesar in this bitch, now I'm on the ass. Hey, 16, I've been a fucking problem. I've been robbing, I've been balling. I'ma beat a shit or something. Why the bitch calling? She be calling, she be stalking. Yeah, drill walking, 100 we up now. Put my damn mask on, I'ma fucking walk down. Go and get the yellow tape, there's another man down. Have his mama fussing, had that nigga chalked down. Whoa now, no Atlanta, I'ma fucking hog down. I don't wait on no man, honey, he gon' blow down. You know I'm on top, I'ma take his place like pro now. Never need nobody, always been alone now. Catch that man alone now, had that man in shock in his bitch. You might think my niggas fishing with these rods in his bitch. Honey, all respect the code, I cannot fall about no bitch. Yo, bitch, all on a nigga, she be goggling dick. Hey, play with me, gon' hit you, make you vomit and shit. Hey, chopper, it be loud, it sound like bombs in this bitch. Hey, y'all niggas some hoes, I can't rock with no snitch. I can't rock with no nigga, we ain't rock with a stick. I'm 16, I've been a fucking problem. Hey, I've been robbing, hey, I've been balling. I'ma beat a shit or something, why the bitch calling? She be calling, she be stalking. Yeah, yo bitch all on a nigga, she be goggling dick.
Yay! Yes sir, just a moment y'all. Got to turn my camera around. Hey, how y'all doing? I want to welcome y'all back. I'm glad to have y'all back in the building. I'm getting myself still situated. I like to start every episode off by saying thank you to everybody that came through, that supported the last video, everybody that came through and supported the first video, all my likes, all my comments, all the subscriptions. I love it. It's definitely boosting up my energy and my ambition to do more. Like, I really do thank y'all. That song in the beginning was King Hunnid. It's called OppSticks. It's out on YouTube. It's out on Spotify. You can go stream that. Hopefully it don't give me no problems. When I try to upload my last video, when I played that in the beginning, they try to give me my first little flag. You know what I'm saying? It popped up with my brother's company name and everything, saying I couldn't use it. I put it on there to mute it, but it never muted it, so I guess I can use it. Hopefully not. If my brothers and boys try to sue me, just know I'm telling mama straight up. And you know I'm going to tell. But yes, sir. We back on the block. Grab a block and come build with me. RocC BlocC episode 3. I got my dog Kel in the building. He called in right on time. He just now happened to call. What's good with you, big dog? He actually got some good news. You feel what I'm saying? Like, my man gonna sing at my wedding. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And the news he got, he gonna be there on time. You feel me? He damn sure gonna be there on time to sing like a motherfucker. Go ahead and let everybody know, bro. Man, look at here. Telling the truth, bro. And that's really the beautiful thing about this topic of discussion. I love to use things that comes to me naturally. That what I'm seeing. And throughout the whole week, the topic of discussion that kept popping up was growth. I kept hearing growth all over the place, right? So that's why I was like, boom, that's what the topic of discussion gonna be. It's gonna be about growth. Are you standing in your way of greatness? But telling the truth, the funny thing about it is, the whole week while I was trying to get my mind prepared on how I wanted to come on here, what I wanted to talk about, I realized something. Growth is actually, we kind of premature on that. You feel what I'm saying? Growth is more of a byproduct of the work and the unforeseen work, the unforeseen discipline, the mind shift that it took and manifested itself into growth. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of intangible things that has to go into the equation first before you can see growth. And that's why I said, are you standing in your own way of greatness? So, that being said, like I said, I wanted to go over some of the intangible things, some of the things, and the funny thing about it, I want to see if anybody notices it. The funny thing about some of these things, I ended up taking down some little notes of little stuff to keep me on point, to keep my mind in one place. And I can't seem to find it, matter of fact. But either way, I know the list by now. Self-assurance, self-awareness, self-accountability, discipline, patience. These are all the things necessary beforehand before you can really see growth. So let's break those down one by one. I like to go them down, and like I said, I like to use my own life as the teaching moment because that's what taught me. I had to go through certain things in order for me to understand them. And like I said, it wasn't until I mastered those beginning traits that I started to see growth. Once I became patient and disciplined and focused and moving with purpose instead of just doing things to do it. Blind faith, doing things, expecting the best outcomes, but not really putting my mind to it to see whether my actions are really being put in the right places to produce those outcomes. So that's where we at today, boss. We talking about motherfucking growth as it equates to self-accountability and the intangible things. Like, and when I say, okay, self-awareness, that's one of the traits. One of the characteristic traits. You'll realize, and like I said, a lot of these things, like I always tell people, the power and the greatness starts within. So I'm not telling people to go out here and look for something else. I want people to look in the mirror. You feel what I'm saying? Because you'll realize all these things are in your control. You feel me? The self-awareness. Like, aware of the things that you're saying, the standards you have, the words that come out your mouth, and holding yourself accountable to those things. And that's where self-accountability comes into place. Like, you have to be a person that, you have to be able to see your mistakes in order to correct them. But if you're a person that's going to do something and you're constantly putting the blame off on somebody else, or it's constantly something else external to you that's the cause for where you're at, you're never going to get there. Sorry to tell you, you're never going to get there. It took a long time for me to get there. For the first 25 years of my life, I felt like I could do no wrong. Like, it was, everybody else was the problem and I was good. Anytime I ever been locked up, I can remember every time I used to talk to my mother after, I'd be like, Ma, it was their fault. I ain't did nothing. They started it. I was minding my business. You feel what I'm saying? Like, to a degree. I was never one to really go start things, but at the same time, I was never one to back up either. So I can remember the last time I got arrested. And I found myself, and it finally hit me as I was saying it. I was preparing to open my mouth to tell my family, man, it wasn't me. It was him. You feel what I'm saying? And then it hit me like, nah, it's me, bro. Like, at this point, especially at that point in life, I knew myself enough to know what people and places I shouldn't even be around. So it was my fault for even putting myself in that environment. I made that decision. I opened the door for that to happen. Yeah, the situation itself, even though that could have been handled different, but we got to start taking more accountability in the places that we put ourselves and the people that we allow in our circle. Because those things are what's detrimental. That's what's going to pull you down. So if you're unable to be able to look at certain environments and say, yeah, it looked fun, it looked cool, but me as a person, knowing how I am and how I move, that's not the best place for me. And then when you really think about it, while you're there anyway, when it comes to spending your time and you want to get on a journey for growth, you'll get to a point where your time becomes more valuable than anything. So the time I'm spending running off and doing this, that, and third, I have to be self-accountable to myself. How are these actions going to get me to what I say I want? Then that patience comes around. Because I realized that was my problem too. I wanted things quick like that. I felt like, but at the same time, nothing worth having comes easy. Patience. Some things that what discourages a lot of us is we expect things to happen overnight. We pray and we think God just gonna bless us with patience because we asked for it. And it wasn't until life showed me that God answers all our prayers. And that's why I'm careful to the things that come out of my mouth, because all our prayers really get answered if you're in tune and you're paying attention. When you ask for patience, that don't mean you just about to wake up in the morning a patient motherfucker. No. How you gonna get that patience? You're gonna find yourself in situations where you can practice that. Where you can be that person that you're trying to be. So and once I realized that, it got to a point where I'll be in situations where I find myself getting frustrated, getting riled up, aggravated. And then, honestly, a common feeling will come over me, and I'll just be like, yo, this is that time to get that patience I've been talking about. This is that time to practice what I'm preaching. Practice and consistency over time, and there's no way you can't get to your end goal. Patience. Focus. I realized a lot, too, when I realized without a focus, well, especially I'm speaking to men, women too, but especially for a man. You dig what I'm saying? With no purpose, that's you just weighing in the wind. You feel what I'm saying? Like you just shooting your shots all over the place. So that's why a lot of things for us, in order to maintain or to achieve that end goal of growth, we have to first master ourselves. First master ourselves to a point where we can display these things that we talk about so easily and readily. It's easy to say these things, but it's hard to practice them. Like I said, I still fight with it. I still find myself getting that calming feeling and a breath of fresh air when I'm realizing, oh, this is a moment to practice patience. Because my little boy is giving me hell. You dig what I'm saying? Him acting like he don't know how to use his dictionary. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, like you realize this is a constant journey. There's no such thing as an end, especially when you're chasing perfection. Every day I wake up, I'm trying to beat the version of me yesterday. So with that being said, like I'm always trying to get better. There's always room to grow. And when and then the best thing for people to do is realize who they got in their circles. One of the best things that happened to me was when I moved from my hometown. I realized a lot. I realized, for one, once I got to move someplace else, I realized that it wasn't necessarily a place I could run from. I realized a lot of problems were within me, for one. But for two, if you look at history or you look at anything, like the theory of natural selection will tell you that. You remove an animal out of its natural environment. Like when it comes to just a growing up, like when you remove yourself from your natural environment, that's fewer distractions. So now you're in a place where you can focus more. You're not pulled and distracted and this, that, and the third to left or right, because a lot of times it's our inability to cut off and not realize when we've outgrown our space, when we've outgrown certain friendships. And I'm not saying love changes and things like that, but at the same time, you have to be real with yourself. Everybody love to say, oh, these my day ones. We've been together since 3rd grade. What the fuck is the point if everybody broke? You feel what I'm saying? Like somebody got to go off and go figure something out. Like that's cool, but what the fuck? Like at the end of the day, that's why I say sometimes we don't want to admit to ourselves, because we'll know when it's time to move on, but we don't want to leave the area. We don't want to leave the friends. We don't want to leave our mamas and whoop the whoop and wop the wop and whatever the case may be. But in order to grow, sometimes you got to step outside of your comfort zone. Get into spaces where you're seeing different perspectives. Say again? I like that. You do what you always done, you're going to get what you always got. And that's what I tell people. Sometimes, I tell my son all the time, I tell my daughter all the time, things don't change until you start to look at them different. Until you start to perceive them different. And I had to realize certain things you can't physically change. You have to accept that too. They're going to be what it is. Only thing you can do is outgrow it. At that point, you got to elevate your thinking to where you don't even look at it the same. Sometimes when things are affecting me, I ask myself, why do I even feel this way about it? Like, why did this situation, these words, or whatever the case may be, why am I feeling this type of way about it? I try to understand myself before I even engage with people now at this point in life. Because a lot of times, like I said, you will realize that the problem is not with your world. It's within you and what you're not doing to satisfy your spirit. Sometimes I really had to open up to understand that sometimes, no matter how hard it is, people, places, they have their season in your life. We try to play God when we put things in our life, when we guarantee something in our spot in our life forever. But if you steady surrounded by the wrong people, how are you ever going to meet the people you need to move forward? Stepping outside of the box. Like everything I try to do now, I try to challenge myself. I try to step outside my comfort zone. Getting comfortable scares me now. You dig what I'm saying? Like no. I don't want, I realize we should be challenged. We should be pushed. And I love to shoot the shit with my friends or whoop the whoop here and there, but for the most part, everybody know I don't even be on that type of time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, anybody want to sit here and reminisce and waste the present? Nah, we gonna kick it in the present. We got to be talking about the future. You feel me? Like that's the way I'm perceiving things now, and that's why I say it all comes from within. It's not really a person outside of yourself that's gonna give you the answers to the questions that's inside you. Man, this joker shit hanging up left and right. So with that being said, I ask myself and I ask you, are you standing in your way of greatness? Are you enabled of making the necessary steps to achieve those goals that you know you want? Because sometimes, telling the truth, our environment, if it's not conducive and productive to what we're trying to do, can become the very reason you never get it off the ground. It'll drain you when you surround yourself with people that's not seeing a vision like you. I can remember when I first wanted to start my welding business. This was back when I was in welding school. Like I said, I always had the mind of I never wanted to work for somebody forever. That's just not what I wanted to do. Whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it enough to learn it so I can do it myself. But either way, I can remember talking to a group of my dogs, and we were just sitting around shooting the shit, and I was like, bro, I want to start a business. Welding business. Them jokers bust the fuck out laughing. I mean, hard down, fucking laughing. You'd have thought I was fucking Kevin Hart. So I'm sitting there, but I'm looking like, fuck is so funny? You dig what I'm saying? But at the same time, it kind of hit me too that they just really wasn't seeing what I was seeing, bro. And I didn't fault them, but I just realized I needed to get myself in a circle of people that did. And that's what a lot of us do. A lot of us realize the things we got to do. A lot of us know the things we got to do to get on that path of what we're trying to get on. But putting that action. And it kind of goes back to what we've been saying before. I was always raised to believe knowledge was power. As I became an adult, I realized knowledge is not power. The application of it is. It's crackheads that know they're addicted to crack, but if you ain't gonna do shit about it, what's the point? You just know some shit. It's having the strength and the belief within yourself that, okay, this door is closed. I don't know where I'm headed, might be. I don't know where I'm going. But I know I'm going to be all right. I know I'm going, you got the right work ethic, you got the right fortitude, I'll be fine. At the same time, what you missing out on? Some fun time. You dig what I'm saying? But at the same time, I tell people, I keep saying that shit. I tell people, there's 3 different versions of you. There's mind, there's body, and there's soul. Every day that we're blessed to wake up, we get older. So you can't help that. Everybody get old. Everybody age, if you're lucky. But as far as for that mental and that spiritual growth, that's totally internal. That's totally choice. That's all in your hands. when it comes to a mental perspective, and honestly, I've been trying to figure out which one is harder. Which one is hard? Which one was harder for me? Telling the truth, it was the mental switch was hard. It wasn't really till I had my daughter that I really looked at life. Once I had a child, I realized I couldn't be a child no more. And at that moment is when I really started to see how far I've come, how far I was out of whack. That I really started to be like, okay, and I knew it. I was like, dang, I gotta make a change, bro. But the thing is, I didn't know how. Because all I had exposed myself to was nonsense and stupidity. And what I had now made my instinctive nature, all the actions I couldn't stand anymore. So I really was at a loss, like how do I become just something totally different at the drop of a hat? And at first it was stressful. At first it was depressing. Once I wanted to give up at times, like, man, I wanted to fall into that groove. I'm only gonna be what I am, and this is what it is, and I'm gonna die like this. I was almost in that type mind frame, and it's scary. But once time, consistency, continuously telling yourself these affirmations, continuously and getting, and like I said, being self-accountable. Like a lot of people don't really realize the reason why I move the way I move, because sometimes I'm parenting myself. Sometimes I punish myself when I don't do things I know I was supposed to do. I punish myself. I might be like, nah, I'm a stay in the house this weekend, or whoop whoop, or now I'm gonna stay up extra late and study an hour because I forgot this over here. Like I put safeguards in place, but I have to be self-aware to what I'm saying. Well, I have to be focused on where I'm trying to go. I have to have the purpose on why I'm doing it or where I'm trying to go. I have to have the self-awareness to remember and be mindful of everything that comes out of my mouth. Everything that I'm responsible for. Everything that's supposed to have my attention when it's supposed to have. And even when I fall short, I have to be self-accountable. Like, it may seem like, I remember when people always be like, oh man, you such a strict parent. I'm glad you ain't my daddy. And to a degree, I be laughing at that. Like, I'm glad you ain't either. Because you would have been getting down fucked up too. But at the same time, I realize the same way I am on my kids, I'm on myself. For me to get to where I am now, it was once I realized the only person I needed to be worried about, the only person I needed to be parenting was me. I stopped caring about what the fuck everybody else was doing. I stopped caring about what everybody else got going on. I'll see somebody doing something, and most people be like, oh, I don't know that person's situation. He probably got it like that where he can do it. I got to know my situation. I know I ain't got time for that. So that's why it became easy for me to just lock in on mine. Like, nah, fuck that. I ain't got time. RocC know what he got going on. RocC gonna move for how he got to do to get to where he trying to go. Because everybody else ain't gonna see your goal. They're not gonna see it, honestly, until you start to make strides in your growth. But like I said, it's a lot of time in the shadows and amongst yourself, getting with God. That's why I tell people all the time, whenever I see people at odds with themselves, or they're at a place of confusion, and I see them looking to the world trying to find a person to give them the answer, I tell them, get with God, man. Get with God. Because the God I pray to, I pray to the God within me. I hope y'all pray to the God within y'all. But I don't look to the sky. I ain't looking out for nowhere else. I get within myself. What I know, everything that's needed for me to be great is already within me. So that's why problems, tasks, obstacles don't seem as big no more. Because as long as I got time, I know I can do it. Because I know how I'm coming. I know what I bring to the table. I know the type of attention I'm gonna give to it. I know the type of work ethic I'm gonna bring to it. I know the type of attention to detail I'm bringing to it. I know it. So that's why everything else is just a matter of time. That's all I tell them. It's just a matter of time. I already know where I'm going now. The first 25 years of my life, I didn't. That's why I was aimless. I was all over. And I used that time to really bounce around and find myself. Whether it was in the military, whether I was welding, whether I was diving, whatever I was doing. I was still soaking it up because I was on a personal journey of finding me first. Then I got to a point where I was actually telling my son, because I'm trying to get him, he a young boy, man. You dig what I'm saying? Get distracted easy, playing around. You dig what I'm saying? So got this little fella that be getting him in trouble. I ain't gonna say getting him in trouble. I tell him all the time, you get yourself in trouble by following that fool up. But I be trying to tell him, man, like how to drown out all the outside noise and tune into that voice inside you. Because that one ain't gonna never steer you wrong. People, they'll distract you from your purpose if you let them. But if you in tune with yourself, you know what you hear that when that voice tell you, it's time for something else. It's time to move on to bigger and better things. Like you hear it. You got the courage to answer the call. Like, and telling the truth on the journey to growth, it requires you to face fears. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He just now got down to New Orleans, just jumped back in the dive game. He had to go back to Israel for a while, but now he back there. But I was talking to him because he getting his chops back up. You feel what I'm saying? And we was having a conversation. And I was like, most people I feel have a fear of the unknown. People fear what they don't know. But the thing about fear is it cripples you. It causes you to sit still. It causes you not to move. It causes you to be stagnant. And that's why we can't allow fear in our mind space. At the end of the day, I probably need to learn how to edit now. Overcoming those fears. Because fear is all in the state of mind, honestly. It's all a state of mind. And a lot of the fears that we have are not of our livelihood. It's of, like I said, losing those connections, those loved ones, those friends. It's mostly a lot of superficial stuff. But when you ask yourself, in order for you to get something you never had, you have to be honest with yourself once you realize however you're going about it ain't working or ain't getting you there. And once you can able to diagnose that, taking the right plans of action to correct it, no matter what that may be. If it requires you to move, if it requires you not to go to this place, if it requires you to go to bed early, if it requires you to get up early. Like, it's just not being afraid to do whatever means necessary in order for you to see that growth in yourself first. But for me, I can tell you, I got to a point a while ago where I was able to start seeing it in myself. Like, I really sometimes look back on my past, and I'm proud. I'm not proud of my actions per se. What I'm saying is, I look back and I can't say I'm disgusted, but I really question a lot. Like, damn, what the fuck was I thinking? Oh, why? Why would I move like that? But just seeing how the change in my perspective to where things that I once held in such high regard, I can care less about. I can remember, and like I say, I started getting in tune to the people around me. I started hearing how I was being perceived by my friends, by my peers, by the people I was hearing around me. And what I was hearing, even though it was in joking conversation, I'm listening like, damn, that shit don't even sound like me. You think what I'm saying? Like, You feel me? Like, and once you see how you're being perceived, you can see where your actions are not corresponding with your words. That you're not really applying that same type pressure that comes out your mouth and really in tune with how your actions are coming across. Because a lot of people will say a lot of things, and that's the main thing that kind of helps me kind of decipher between people who about something and people who full of shit. Like, now I listen closely to their words. I remember it. So that way I can watch and see. As soon as I start seeing your actions go counter to what comes out your mouth, now I know how to handle you now. I can act accordingly. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I started paying attention more to the actions after the words than the words themselves. And that really will open me up. But the crazy thing is, man, like I said, I knew this topic was kind of going to be sketchy for me. It was going to be sketchy just because I feel like it's so broad and there's so many things I want to touch on. And that's why my mind is jumping all over the place, because I still want to go over the self-awareness. I still want to go over the self-accountability, because it's easy to say these things. But like I said, it's a practice. Like, you have to have a consistent routine with them, putting yourself in those type of situations if need be, to gain them to where they become more natural reactions to you. Like, I try to live a very routine, disciplined life. I try to live I got a routine, a schedule, and I hold myself consistent to it. I wake up in the morning, I work out, I go to work, I come home. I usually work out with my son in the afternoons. He been fucking up in school, so we've been doing work for his workout time since then. Once you eat, shower, get ready to lay it down, like, you really realize how little bit of time we got in the day. So when it comes down to wasting it now, especially once you can really lock in on the focus on what you want out of life, eventually it gets to a point where you in some of these situations, especially if they're reoccurring, you ask yourself, why am I even here? Why am I even here? Like time is of the essence. My time became the most important thing to me is when I started spending it correctly. I spend my time like money. I don't just, anytime, and like I said, that's kind of my problem too. I try to consolidate shit. You dig what I'm saying? Like I said, if I want to chill with my homeboys, okay, let's chill, bring your kids, I bring mine, we're going to teach them this and do this, that, and third with them, and then we going to chill, and then we going to talk business, and I try to get everything done at every time. I'm trying to maximize the time. Once I start seeing how fast it's going by, it seemed like when I was young, it took forever to get to the weekend. It took forever for this. Now, I blame it on my kids, actually, because ever since I had them jokers, next thing you know, I woke up and I was 30. You dig what I'm saying? So I blame it on them. Motherfuckers be having me scared to damn go to sleep sometime. I fuck around and wake up and be 40 in the morning. So shit, time is the most crucial thing we got. I don't know, telling the truth, 2020 should have shown a lot of people that. We've been seeing people, before that, but people been dying left and right. Like, they woke up this morning with plans. That's over. You feel what I'm saying? So now, like I said, we can't afford to waste time. Especially when we're trying to build something great, because that's going to take time. But that's why, like I said, I'm still continuing to step outside my comfort zone to put myself in spaces where I can learn more, because there's a lot that I don't know. Like, I need to learn. I'm trying to learn video editing for these videos, because that's why I've been putting these up there straight. Ain't no editing, ain't none of that. So I'm not doing none of that shit. But I'm going to learn. Ever since I've been putting these up, I've been getting in contact with a lot of people now. I actually been in talks with one of my dogs. Like, he got his own podcast. We're going to be linking in. We're going to be trying to see how we can do some work together. Like, it's really, we're trying to get our schedules together, and it's inspiring for me. Because, like I said, it's so much I'm asking them already to teach me, to help me get right. Because I damn sure don't know how to use this electronic shit. So now I'm curious to get myself there. I'm curious to learn. And that's one more fear I had to get over. The fear of failing. That's what cripples a lot of us too. The fear of falling, the fear of being embarrassed, the fear of what people gonna think stops a lot of our growth. You afraid to step into that light because something might happen. You scared of everybody seeing you fall. This, that, and third. Fuck them. Fuck them. At the end of the day, I tip my hat to anybody who trying, man. Who trying. I mean, if everybody was knocking on my home run straight out the park every time, though, life wouldn't be the struggle and the fight that it is. It's worth it, but damn, you got to fight for it. You know what I'm saying? I realized I had to put myself back out there and be vulnerable. Like, that wasted too much energy trying to think about the people's perception that you don't even fucking know. I know the people I love and keep close respect me. I can give a damn about a stranger. I mean, when we dealing, and anybody I deal with, you know what I'm saying, my respect is always given because I give that. That's just how I move. You dig what I'm saying? And like I say, and that's a level of growth for me. I know back in the day, I used to fight for it whenever I didn't get it. Now, if I see that respect is not mutual, I cut ties with you. I realize I don't have to deal with you. You dig what I'm saying? So like I said, it's really realizing all the power that's in your hands. Life in this totality, to me, is boils down to our choices we make. Period. If you're making sound, logical, thought out decisions, not all the time, but more times than not, you're going to end up on the good side of the stick. If you're out here making emotional, secondhand, spur of the moment, willy-nilly decisions, it's safe to say where those get you. And you really can't be surprised or taken back by that. So shit, at the end of the day, it's all just about slowing ourselves down and getting ourselves in spaces to where we can hear those voices within our spirit that's already pushing us to bring that greatness up out of us. Because we all got it in us. We just got to be able to tune out the world and all the distractions that they try to throw at us to keep us blind, deaf, and dumb. Like I said, turn off the TV. I mean, like I said, I'm so out of touch, bro, with some things, but I feel good in that space, though. I feel good in that space. Like, if anything, this is gonna be a topic that I keep reiterating on, because it's not something that's you can really just hit on and then it's done. No, like I say, this is a journey. So grab a block and keep on building. That's all I got for y'all today, man. As far as on that topic, I ain't even gonna cap with you, bro. But for the most part, like I said, I still wanted to thank everybody who did come through. I've been trying to keep this one a little bit shorter. That's why I keep trying to look at the time up there in the corner. I know people ain't got all that time. Like I say, I'm still thinking about y'all time. But yeah, I know that last one was like 40-something minutes, man. If I'm really in it, then I'm gonna just ride with it. But at the same time, I really don't like to keep people up. I just wanted to drop some food for thought, something to take into your work week. Are you standing in your way for greatness? Are you enabled to step into your purpose? Because you're comfortable. Because you're afraid to fail. Because you're afraid to try. That's things you got to ask yourself. And it's easy to lie to me. You can't lie to yourself. And that's why I moved the way I moved too, because like I said, once I realized that I was the first parent that I needed to be for me, once I became grown, of course I had my mama. You know, I ain't said taking up with my mama. I had a fabulous ass mama. I love you, mama. Straight up. You did everything right. I ain't talking about you. But either way, once I got to the point where I realized I had to parent me, I know what people talking about when they say, oh man, you strict on your parent, you strict on your kid. I ain't lied. The reason why I'm so on my routine and purpose is because I know I'm going to get on my own ass. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to be trying to sleep in the bed and I'm going to be hearing, damn, you wasted all that motherfucking time. You ain't not a damn thing done. How the hell you going to get something? Look, I can't live with that shit. So at the end of the day, like I said, I move now to keep me happy. I know I got to be always moving towards that vision I see at the end of this race that I'm running. So once everybody lock in on that race that they gotta run, everything else will become easy. everything else will start falling in line. The universe always make ways for a man or woman that got a plan. Always. So I thank y'all again for coming through. RocC BlocC episode 3. Main thing I really need though, like I said, I be looking for topic ideas. I be looking for those type things. So when you come through, drop a like, drop a comment, give some feedback, give some advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting some of my compadres on here. I got a few of them that I'm trying to get on here. And we just discuss things. Like, just to see the buildings in the work that we all trying to do in different ways and facets. Trying to figure out how we all can tie in and help each other on things that you may need help on. It may be things that I can help y'all with. It may be me reaching out and establishing those new bridges of things that I know I can't do it all by myself. And I understand that now. Once I got rid of the pride and the ego, I realized there's nothing wrong with a team. But being a team, you got to know how to hold your own weight. Know what you bring to the table. Once again, y'all, thank y'all for coming out. Until next time, next Sunday, I'll see y'all soon, maybe. RocC BlocC. Matter of fact, I know y'all see me wearing my hat. I finally got me a new hat. I'm happy as hell. I've been looking for this hat for the longest. Iraq and Afghanistan, baby. Yes, sir.